Hey magical playbook makers. I wanted to take you on a walkthrough of my own magical playbook, and it is still a work in progress, but I have all of the pages in so far. I may add some page extenders, but I'm still adding little bits in a few little things here and there. But I thought I'd take you on a walkthrough just so that you can think about how you might want to organize your own playbook, and maybe this will spark some ideas for you. So the first thing that I want to just show you just on the outside of the playbook, I will probably keep a little book ring with these two things. So my pendulum, and I have this little bag full of dice because there are quite a few pages where I use dice. And so this is easy enough to just take off and put on. So I can just take that off and set it aside. Now the front cover, you can see I just have a regular mixed media pad, and it is 11 by 14, and it's really been a great size for me to do everything in. I do plan to do something with the cover, maybe put some gesso on and paint it. So I do plan to do something with the cover. I just haven't figured it out just yet. I'm going to open it up and talk a little bit about your opening page or your welcome page. And a lot of these things I really didn't think about when I first started doing my playbook, but one of the reasons why I wanted to do a class is to suggest that you might do a little bit more organizing of your own playbook. So when you open up your book, you may use this first page as maybe a welcome page, perhaps an about you page, a dedication page, maybe it's a page of protection or something like that. I really put the crystal grid here as my first page because I thought it would be a good idea to have almost like a kind of like to be able to set an intention before I begin working in my book for the day. And I think that's still a good idea, although I don't really do that. But just to set up a quick crystal grid, just to kind of help me to stop and focus. I really created my magical playbook in a lot of ways to help me to slow down and to focus and to be really kind of a meditative tool. So think about what you might want here. What I'm doing for my intro, I'm actually going to put something on this side. And I think what I'm going to do, I haven't finished it yet, but I think what I'm going to do is some sort of like secret code type of thing on this side. And it's going to involve these little cards that I just made. And I just cut these out of cardstock, printed them on cardstock. I just found some different pictures and printed them out on cardstock. And one of the things that I was thinking was, it's going to be kind of like a riddle of the Sphinx, you know, where you have to answer a question, and you have to answer the question using 3 of these cards. So depending on how magical you are, you'll be able to figure out which cards you need to use. And if those are the correct cards, then you get to look through the rest of my book. That's what I was thinking, but still working on it. And of course, I love oracles, so I really have, even beyond the whole concept of the page of being like a secret code, I've got a new little oracle deck. And so on this page, what I'm going to use to keep the cards, I think is a, think it's called a Victorian puzzle purse. So that will store all of the cards inside. And then I might make another little envelope or something here to store maybe meanings, maybe a little accordion book or something like that, that has the meanings for each card. So this becomes a whole new page of just reading. So I can do little readings with this oracle. So I'll let you know when I get that page done. But I really want to use every single place that I can in my magical playbook from front to back. So as you can see here, my first page is my crystal grid, and I think I can do 21 crystals in this grid. So and each crystal means something different. We'll cover that when we get into the crystal grid lesson. But I really like having this kind of as a first page because, again, you can set this out and use it kind of as an intention setter for your working for that day. On the next page, I have my moon cycle spread, and this is one that I got from a Pull-Pen Paint class with April Miller McMurtry, who does The Moon is My Calendar. And this was the spread that she showed us in the Pull-Pen Paint class. And there's like a little theme here, which I could use either a little mini card or a or charm or rune. And I like using the page to help explain, like to give some instructions for what to do with that page, because so often I'll create a spread or I'll create a system and I can't remember later how I'm supposed to interpret it. The next page is another spread, and you will see that most of my playbook is actually spreads because that's what I do mostly is read cards, and I really love using different spreads. This one is called the Rebelizing Spread, and it was inspired by a word that Ruth McCants created in one of the webinars I was on with her, the word rebelizing. So I kind of made a meaning up for it and made up a little card spread around that word. And so you can, think about card spreads that you want to include in here, and don't be afraid to make up a new card spread. And this one is my week ahead spread, and this one I use really every single week. I like to pull cards for each day. I also have an outer and inner, which for me is like the outer environment, inner environment, and I've got some more pieces right there. So I really like using this one each week for readings. The next page is also designed to be a crystal grid, and so I just want to get a few crystals so I can show them to you on this page. And so you would really put the crystals in mainly these areas. And as a crystal grid, it's a reflection of the face. And so the crystals are giving you kind of intentions based on the different placement in the face. So the eyes are about sight, third eye issues clarity. The nose, you can see it's like a upside down heart. So this is really like heart chakra stuff. What's your heart's desire, or what's going on in terms of your feelings. I like to put a stone there, and it may be, for example, a rose quartz, so that I can exude that energy, the energy of rose quartz, the energy of love and healing and compassion toward others. I use this one for like throat chakra, like what am I communicating, how am I expressing? And then these are really about crown chakra thoughts. Where do I want my thoughts? Where do I want to place my thoughts? How do I want to connect to the divine? So that's how I use that particular crystal grid. My next page is a self-portrait, and this is again another spread, who I was, who I am, and who I'm becoming. And then I use this little space down here. It's supposed to be like a picture frame. And I choose a card face up that reflects all three states of being. This one is a really fun page because it's got a couple of things going on. First of all, it's a pendulum chart, and the whole page is designed to help me pick a mudra that I need. I got a really great book from a friend on mudras, and I really wasn't using it or interacting with it. And so part of what I use my magical playbook for is to interact with different tools, books, and things that I really want to interact with, but I don't. Sometimes, you know, you say you don't have the time, but a lot of times it's just finding a way to integrate that tool into your life. So there's a couple things here. There's a pendulum chart. I can also roll 3 different colored dice to figure out which energy is going on right now, and that will help me pick a mudra. I can pick a mudra by the different elements. And I'm not finished quite with this yet, but this relates to your fingers. And I could either do a casting on this or still use my pendulum over it and find out which finger, looks like it's starting to moving on flow, which finger is kind of the most important for the mudra, because different mudras use different fingers in different ways. So that is my mudra page. The next one is the word search. And some of these pages I'm not really going over too thoroughly because we're going to be going through them in the lessons. This is one that I did, which I probably really didn't need this one in here because it's really just a yearly spread. It's the 7 cycles spread that goes through the 7 cycles of your entire year. Since it's a yearly spread, it's not something I use monthly or on a really regular basis. May not have needed to be in here, but sometimes I like to do this reading with different decks just to get a different view for my 7 cycles. This one is the watchword spread. This is a spread that is based on the watchword matrix. I've used this matrix in certain classes and things, so you may have heard of it before. And what I'll try to do is put links to a lot of the things that I'm referencing so that you'll be able to find out more about, you know, these things in case you wanted to create spreads and things like that. You can see I've started to kind of decorate some of the pages, so it's nice to add little borders or things to your pages. So that's why I'm not quite through. I think I'm gonna go back and add some different things. This is my month ahead spread, and I really try to do this each month. And it's just got a theme and then different areas of life. So really start thinking about, if you like using spreads, what are the spreads that you use regularly? So in my book, I have 2 different ways to do chakra readings. This one is with my chakra cards. And so my cards are actually square, so they just fit right into these little spaces. So often I'm trying to do it and I don't have room for everything. So this just kind of makes it a little bit easier to do my chakra reading with my chakra cards. This is another spread that was inspired by a pull pin paint class with Julia Eve, who goes by Spiral Sea Tarot. And this is a spread that I created based on what I learned. And you can see that I use the like headers here, but then I use the insides of each card template to explain, what kind of card should go in that space. And then the center area is about what you want to manifest. So I could use something, again, like charms work really well as a visual for like what you want to manifest. This one is a casting board. I haven't done much with it, but I got a gorgeous set of runes, and I really wanted to use my runes a lot more. And this is a casting board kind of specifically for runes, but of course it could work with a lot of other things. This one is another spread, but it's designed to work with the Camelot Oracle. I don't know if any of you have that Oracle deck, but the way that it works, you have archetype cards and you have path cards. And when you combine them, it gives you a question. So I really like that aspect of using the cards. I don't typically use them just for general readings, but I use them to get a question. So I thought it'd be good to do a page so I can work with that deck a little bit more. And then, of course, once you have the question, you've got to pull a card for the answer. So I added a little space here for putting in the answer as well. And I think it's a good idea if you have decks that you really enjoy using that are super unique, to come up with a page that's based on that deck. This is the Moon Phases pendulum chart. So this is my second pendulum chart in the book, and we're going to talk about this in a lesson. This one is my altar. This is another page that we're going to go into. So I'll just show you what it looks like. This is this is actually a 3-page spread. So it's really this cover page, and then we open up into another page, and then a third page. So I kind of look at all of this as one page. The altar sets up like this. You're not going to quite be able to see it. And so it's just a way to have like a traveling altar. So if I go out of town and I have this, I have a little area so that I can, again, focus, meditate, be quiet, and I can use it with my cards and some other tools. Then I have a little spread of gratitude here, and I'll probably do some decorating of this page. Of course, I have the deck interview spread. That's one of the spreads I use pretty frequently. So you can see that whole page. And this one is my finger labyrinth. This is a page that we're going to have a lesson on. This is my teacup casting page, and I don't know if you've done any like tea leaf readings or anything like that. There's a whole way that you interpret the cup. So this is the cup with the cup handle. So I've just made this into a little casting board. So depending on where you cast like charms or something like that, you could even do this with dice and cast them onto here. Depending on where they land, okay, they're going to give you different information about these different areas of life. This is a page that I created specifically so that I could use with my geomancy cards. And I can do an entire geomancy chart with this. It just barely fit everything, but I really like that I can do an entire chart. I can't tell you how many times I would try to find enough space to do an entire chart. So I like that I was able to fit it into my book. This is one of the lessons we're going to cover. This is my Land of Lenormand map. So it's just one of my magical maps. This one is one of my favorite spreads. It hangry spread, and I usually use this with my Food Fortunes deck, but you can use it really with any kind of deck. With this one, it's the On the Road Again spread. It's a spread that I created to use with my life path cards. So for this, I made the templates bigger because these will fit my actual life path cards. This is a spread I just kind of created on a whim. I haven't really figured out exactly how I'm going to use it, but it's a rock, paper, scissors spread. I think it should be good for decision making. This is my Stickomancy page, and there is a lesson on this. What I really love about this page is the texture. And I just like to sometimes just look and just feel this page.